Joining me now is Congressman Bobby Scott, Democrat from Virginia, a co-sponsor of a key reform bill in the House, and a longtime critic of our criminal justice system. Thank you for coming on with us this morning, Congressman.
Reverend Al, it's good to be with you.
Let me ask you, there are those that are critical of the idea that police need reforming in this country. I mean, when you look at the fact that even FBI Director James Comey and President Obama have two different views on the Ferguson effect. Let me show them to you and get your response.
In today's YouTube world, are officers reluctant to get out of their cars and do the work that controls violent crime? Some part of the explanation is a chill wind that has blown through law enforcement over the last year.
Overall, violent crime rates across the nation appear to be nearly as low as they were last year. We do have to stick with the facts. What we can't do is cherry-pick data or use anecdotal evidence to drive policy.
This whole feeling that there's no need for reform and the talk of reform gives a chilling effect on police. How do you feel about that kind of rhetoric that's put out even by apparently the FBI director?
Well, there was one police officer I saw on television saying that they're going to, because of the Ferguson effect, they're only going to arrest people when necessary. Well, you wonder what was going on before the Ferguson effect. If they should only be arresting people when necessary. But I think if you had better police training, and that costs money, and that's available in the Safe Justice Act. If you provide better training, we could get past the rhetoric and get to better police officers, body cameras to get the facts out. And so I don't think we need to get into the debate whether there's a Ferguson effect. Better police training, which is available in the Safe Justice Act, I think will address the problem.
Do police belong in schools? We saw this tape of this young lady being dealt with by this sheriff's officer in South Carolina. Do police belong in the schools, and should disruptive behavior even be a crime?
There's a lot of evidence that police officers in schools are actually counterproductive, that they end up policing the children rather than protecting the children. Problems that should have been resolved in the principal's office are now in the court system, and that's a downhill slide for the young people that get caught up in the criminal justice system. I mean, there's a lot of evidence that you'd be much better off spending the money instead of having a police officer, additional guidance counselors, school psychologists, and things like that, rather than a police officer. And there's a lot of evidence that suggests that it's actually counterproductive to have police officers in the schools.
Some people have tried to say that calls for police reform, calls to try and deal with the training you're talking about and the sensitivities are anti-police. I went through it in New York, even showing that we stood with police when one was slain, and there was resistance even when some members of the family said, let them come in and be part of the funeral program. How do we address the fact that calling for police reform is not anti-police, is really supporting good policing?
Well, I think, and that's where police training comes in. What is in the training can be subject to a lot of discussion, what is necessary to be in it. But I think it's hard to argue against better policing. We don't pay the police. I mean, we should be paying them more. But better training would certainly help and eliminate a lot of the problems of unnecessary arrests, profiling, and a lot of other problems, unnecessary use of force. There are a lot of things that can be cured with better training.
Congressman Bobby Scott, thank you for your time this morning.
Good, thank you.